Folks, a very good evening. Welcome along to Fir Park. Lovely to have you with us this evening for this annual general meeting of the Welsh Society. If you've joined us here in Fir Park, you're very welcome. If you've joined us in Zoom from whatever place in the world you're joining us from, you're also very welcome this evening.
If you look at the profit loss accounts, the very last page, you finish up with a situation there where the loss for the year is £102,000 because we've got a huge amount by way of expenses, the wages, various other donations, a larger donation, to the club during the year, and all the costs, add up to 103,000, and we don't, the income that we receive as a society, we don't tend to see very much of it through the profit and loss account. Most of the income that comes to the society through you guys as members, they tend to, they principally are contributions from you as a shareholder, and therefore all these contributions go straight into the balance sheet. So what you've got to do really is look at the balance sheet, which is on page number 8 of it, and you see that in the balance sheet that our funds at the bottom have increased from 1.648 million to 1.740 million, and that effectively is the increase in funds that we have generated through the year. So that's almost 100,000. Now, that's the increase in funds. Now, the fact that we have effectively spent 100,000 during the year meant that effectively we generated £200,000 and spent £100,000 of that, and the excess of £100,000 is what increases the funds that we hold towards the end of the year. And our funds are principally made up of 3 items. We have 145,000 roughly, which is what's left of the shareholding that we purchased many years ago when we first took an interest in the club. We spent 150,000 for the shares we took away back at that particular point in time. It was £150,000, but we sold a few since then, and the 145,716 is what's left of that original sum. The other sums effectively we have is the money we hold in the bank and the loan that we have extended to the club. And the point I would always make is that that loan that's extended to the club, it's secured against the assets of the club. So if anything ever unfortunately goes wrong with the club, the Welsh Society is in a principal position to have their kind of funds effectively refunded prior to anyone else getting their share. But probably the one other point I would make is that back to the page 8, the profit and loss account, there is very little in there that is designated as being kind of revenue income. The one thing that's still there a wee bit is what we call the annual renewal fees. That's the one thing we've always treated as being revenue income to go in the profit and loss account. And what that is, members are way back at the very beginning, in the earlier years of the society, they had a choice of what level of membership they came in at. They could have a steel member at 300 quid, they could have a claret member at 1,000, an amber member at 5,000, and an 1886 member who was known as at that particular time 25,000. Now, the addition to that was once you had paid your initial membership at whatever level you wanted it to be, you then had a chance. You didn't need to do this, but you then had a chance to pay an annual fee, and in return for that annual fee there was 1 or 2 benefits you received, but you didn't need to do that. That was a personal choice. Now, for a number of years way back at the very beginning, a whole pile of people, very many members, decided to pay this annual fee. But very few do now, and as you can see the number in there, it's only 4,800. So that can let you see the basic steel member pays 50 quid. The claret member pays 150. The amber member pays £500. So as you can see, there's not very many members still choose that route. If the total income is only £4,800. The other wee point I would make is in relation to our kind of investment income. Our investment interest has been virtually negligible in the past because the interest rates for a while were so absolutely crazy. Now it's much better, and you don't see very much to get too excited about in there. But in the current year, the interest rate we got was getting a bit higher. Going forward, it's even higher again now. We can now get about kind of 4%. So in the current year, I reckon probably the interest we would receive would be about 18 grand. But in a year in the future, now that we can get 4% of the bulk of our funds is now held with the kind of Virgin Bank, and we get 4%, I think it's just short of 4% per annum. So our interest in the future is going to get a huge sum of money compared to it's been buttons and negligible in the past. I mean, for a while in the past, I think we were getting something like 0.1% of an interest. It was a joke way back when interest rates were so low. But certainly at 4% per annum, we're probably talking about £28,000–30,000 in a year. So that's all for the future. There's nothing there to get too excited about in the past, but that's going to be a bit better in the future. So I don't think I'll say any more than that. That's just a quick kind of summary and picking out maybe the main numbers that's within that. So I think the only thing now is just to throw it open to you guys and see if you've any questions that the numbers in here might encourage you to ask about. So I'll just call a halt right now and throw it open to you guys to throw some questions at me, throw some questions at us.